And we are live on the Google Hangout on air, and I need to change something because of some late breaking information. 2 out of 3. No, 2 out of. And it's probably up on my website wrong. Hang on. Hang on. Nope, where is it? Meyer. All right, there we go. No video on Google yet. We should be live. All right, I am starting. This is going to be a crash and burn episode. I think we're gonna be talking about the great disaster of October 25th, 2015 for a while because I am changing everything. It's a mess. So let's see. The first thing for those of you watching is that I am switching to Amadeus Pro for my recording, which means I will most certainly make some horrific mistakes. It's what I'm expecting. What do you think, Steve?
I think you'll do just fine.
Oh yeah, it shouldn't be a problem at all. Oh, Rose loves the logo, Steve. Did you see that? The Taming the Terminal logo?
Oh, good. Glad she likes it.
And for all the work that you did extracting all the episodes. So that's good. Pretty cool.
Really good.
Oh, I wanted to give a shout out to, I think it was Kevin Jones. Let me check really quick and see if I can find out. Kevin actually went out and extracted them all himself and didn't know we were doing it. Yeah, it was Kevin Jones. Yeah. Wow. Wait a second. Did I talk about him already in here? Kevin? And find Kevin. Kevin bought Amadeus Pro just so he could extract all of the terminal episodes out, not knowing we were going to do it. Okay. That's good. That's perfect. Okay. Let's see. Let me do a little test recording. And I'm going to show you guys Amadeus Pro because it's kind of interesting. Let's see. Screen share. Let's do this because it doesn't work quite the same. I've got the top tracks is Allison, then there's intro and outro, and this little red thing down at the bottom, if you can see me moving that, well, I can't really control it. That's the insertion point, which is different than the playhead. So if I click here and I've got a blue one, that's the playhead, but the red one is the insertion point. And with some keystrokes, I can make it be in the same place, but I haven't learned how to do that yet. So anyway, we're going to insert this at the beginning, and then this is the record button here, but it doesn't show me the waveform being recorded. So if I accidentally choose, say, this track instead of the Allison track, it's going to splat it right on top of that. And the only thing I could do is undo because I can't get back the stuff I squashed over. So I haven't gotten the hang of this. So I'm going to do this in probably shorter segments to make sure I stay on the right track, or else I'll have to do a lot of undoing and redoing. Kevin asked, did I ask Bart about his workflow for Amadeus Pro? No, I never got a chance to do that because we were so busy with the other stuff. I didn't get a chance to. So let me go ahead and do a test recording, make sure you guys can hear this and make sure this works. Here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com. Look at that. It came in to the right track. All right, let's see what happens if I turn play on that track and see if you guys can hear both on playback. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com.
Yes, we can hear.
Yay!
But we can't see you anymore.
Yeah, but I thought you wanted to see Amadeus Pro.
Oh, we'd love to see Amadeus Pro.
Well, I can stop. Yeah, actually, I'd rather you guys be able to watch it because then you'd be able to tell me, no, you're on the wrong track. Stop. So I'll delete that. So what I need to do is make sure that's gray. All right, you can see it, you can hear it. All right, I have some parts of this I haven't written that I'm just going to have to wing.
You're not going to show us how the sausage is made, are you?
No, well, I think so. I think this whole episode's gonna be a disaster. I'm worried about it, but we'll see.
Good luck, dear.
All right, thanks.
Signing off.
Signing off. Goodbye. All right. You can tell them in the chat how stressed out I've been about this. Okay, so there, and I'm going to start here. Here we go. That's dark, so that should be the right path. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Macintosh bias. Today is Sunday, October 25th, 2015, and this is show number 546. Well, you want to know what's hard? Launching a new podcast. You want to know what's harder? Launching 2 new podcasts. You know what you can do to even make it harder if you want? Decide to use a different service you don't know anything about to host the audio files and change your recording software. Welcome to my week. Before I kick into all of that, though, I want to do 2 things. First of all, this is the very first episode of the NosillaCast that will not have a chit-chat across the pond since 2007. I forget the exact date, but we'll get back to that later. So chit-chat across the pond does exist. You can go to the website and get it, and I'm going to give the URL later, and I'll explain why it isn't in iTunes yet, isn't searchable yet, but you will be able to get it, but it won't be in this episode. So when you're ready for some chit-chat, you're going to need to get subscribed to a new feed, but we'll get into that. The other thing I wanted to tell you before I dig into how much fun this has been doing all this, I wanted to alert you that we did another Mac Roundtable recently. It was an awesome episode. We had me, Don McAllister, Bart Bouchatz, and Chuck Joyner. I asked them the question, big or small? I wanted to hear how we all make decisions on whether, do you get the iPhone regular or do you get the plus size? Do you get the 42 millimeter or the 38 millimeter Apple Watch? Do you get the iPad mini, the iPad Air, or the iPad Pro? Well, what about MacBooks? Do you go MacBook, MacBook Air, MacBook Pro? How do you make those decisions? Heck, even the new iMacs come in 2 high-res models now. And then, of course, on Monday, we have to decide whether we need the big Apple TV or the little Apple TV. It was really, really fun, and I hope you give it a listen over at macroundtable.com. All right.
Got a new John listener.
A new John listener.
Chat room attendee.
Hi, John. We've got NASA Nut is back, who is also John. And what about Mr. New?
Well, Mr. New appears to be new.
I bet not.
The new guy, or it's probably a guy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly who it is, right? Let me see. I'm going to go ahead and give this a play at the beginning. We aren't going to have to do as much at the end as we used to. So let's see. Is that it? Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Macintosh bias. Today is Sunday, October 25th, 2015, and this is show number 546. Well, that's funny. I screwed up the show number and it made it line up properly. So that's good. All right. So all I have to do now, I have to get my insertion point here. My insertion point there. I don't know how to get. Oh, no, I got to do that by doing this. There we go. Okay. Insertion point, the correct track. This is going to be hard. Let's see if I shrink it down. Yeah, there we go. Now I can tell it's that. Okay. All right. All right. Save. I might save a lot tonight. All right. Nice to meet you, John. Glad you could come on board. What are we talking about? Culver's. Oh, burger restaurant. Oh, yeah. Everybody's booking starting to book their hotel rooms for MacStock 2016. That'll be fun. Okay. I did 2 whole paragraphs without messing up yet. So I think we're on track to have some success here. We'll see, though. I'm sure I can still find a way to screw this up. Okay. Here we go. Last week on the show, I told you that Bart, Steve, and I were working on a secret project. The big reveal is that we have unloaded. Okay, cancel. I also have to. I gotta make sure that I don't leave a big gap between these sections because I might have to go back and listen to those. That's gonna be a little different because it doesn't start right up where I was. I can't see where it's starting. Last week on the show, I told you that Bart, Steve, and I were working on a secret project. The big announcement is that we have revealed a new podcast. Not exactly new to you necessarily, but it's called Taming the Terminal. This podcast is the 35-part series, which is actually 40 podcast episodes, originally broadcast as part of the NosillaCast. This is Bart teaching me how to use the terminal. Steve painstakingly pulled every single episode out, topped and tailed it, as Bart would say, with music, and then Bart and I did introductions to it, and we added the awesome logo that Steve made for us. You can find Taming the Terminal in your podcatcher of choice, including iTunes, and the detailed written tutorials and direct download and player links are all over Bart's site at bartb.ie/TTT. And of course, there is a link in the show notes. If you'd like to subscribe by hand copying and pasting, there is a link to it for your podcatcher in the show notes. Remember, whenever you see one of these links, you don't click on them. That doesn't do anything. You have to copy and paste it into your podcatcher. Bart and Steve and I had originally thought that it made sense to release Taming the Terminal a couple a week. We thought that'll keep the excitement up, but, just kind of having this thing come out like a normal podcast. But there were a bunch of downsides. One of them, it meant doing work every week. It meant posting the episodes in the feed, Bart adding it to the already existing tutorial blog post, finding the audio and linking up to them, and then marketing them from both of us. It also felt artificial to, give them to listeners, to not give them to listeners when we had them already. What if you've already heard the series, but you want to go back and refresh your memory on Path or Man? You couldn't do that, but there was no reason for it. It was just artificial. This turned into a much harder exercise than I thought it would be. I created all 40 items in Feeder, which is my application that I use to create my podcast feed, but I'd find a mistake here and there, and I'd go back and correct one. I had Feeder set up to auto-create the dates of release, and when I corrected some, the release dates changed, so the podcast episodes were all out of order. I'd go back in and change the dates by hand, sometimes changing just like the minute of the release, because I had done a bunch in a row. I'd gone boom, 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 and then I'd gone back and edited one. Well, then I got to find a minute that I didn't put one in, so that got into the right order. Finally got those all sorted. That was a nightmare. I never mentioned on the show where we're hosting the audio files for Taming the Terminal, though. For the NosillaCast and Chit Chat Across the Pond, I use a service called Libsyn. This is a service dedicated to podcasters, and it's cool because you pay for how much data you upload within a month instead of how many downloads you get. That means if your show gets wildly famous suddenly, you're not in danger of losing a house payment or something like that. The show doesn't cost you any extra money. You know how much you're going to pay. However, like I said, it's the volume that you upload. If I'd added Taming the Terminal to it, I'd have had to increase my monthly cost. I decided to check out archive.org. That's where Tom Merritt hosts the Daily Tech News Show. He says that archive.org, their mission is to scrape the internet and suck everything in that's ever been created on the internet. And so he says if you create your data there, that's even easier for them because they don't have to go get it. I figured if it's free, that was a good thing. And I figured if Tom's listeners don't overload it, Taming the Terminal should be okay. The interface to archive.org is pretty janky, and it isn't particularly intuitive. I did have to redo quite a bit of work there, but I managed to conquer it. Okay, I'm going to stop every once in a while and make sure I've got this going. All right, and now get our insertion point here again. Move that around. Save, yes. I think saving today would be a good thing. Okay, so far so good. Archive.org also makes 11 versions of your audio file after you upload it. I sent up an MP3, but after it's done, you get an OGG Vorbis, a torrent, a variable bitrate, M3U file, on and on and on it goes. Finding the correct link for the file meant clicking on the MP3 and then grabbing the URL that it showed as it played the audio. The URLs for audio files in archive.org are secure, so they start with HTTPS, but it turns out many podcatchers don't like HTTPS links, so I stripped the S off. I got metrics from Libsyn on downloads for my podcast, but with archive.org, I'm not going to get those. Blueberry, which is spelled Blubrry, is another podcast service like Libsyn. Little side note, if I had it to do over, I'd start on Blueberry, but it's a little that train is already sailed, or however you would say that. Anyway, Blueberry offers some free metrics collection, even if you don't host your files with them. If you stick their URL in front of the URL for the audio file in the feed, you get this tracking for free so that you can see how many downloads there are. Okay, so all I had to do was strip off the S, add the Blueberry URL in front of each URL, and we're in business. We have an elaborate spreadsheet that Bart and Steve and I have been working on. And so I was able to do a search, change all, and put all those Blueberry links in the front of it. So it's all set. I got everything up in iTunes and I spammed the universe. I put it on Twitter. I put it on Facebook. I put it on Google+. Dave Hamilton even told the Mac Geek Gab community through his Google+ community, and everybody's all excited and ready to learn. But then this morning, I see a message from Bart that some of the episodes are disappearing. He asked me whether there is a permalink instead of the links I was using. I've never really understood what a permalink was. I mean, why wouldn't a link be permanent? Why would you want a link that would change? Well, sure enough, I found a page on archive.org that explains that whatever you do not use those URLs that I was using because they're not permanent. Well, how was I supposed to know that? How was I supposed to know that was ever going to happen? All right, they told me how to fix it. So go back into Feeder, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste 40 times and republish the feed. But guess what else I get to do? Try to find every single person who subscribed to the feed early and tell them to delete it and resubscribe. 2 Twitter accounts, 2 Facebook accounts, plus the Mac Geek Gab Facebook group, LinkedIn, Google+. I hope I got everyone. And I'm telling you guys now, so I hope that if you subscribed and you only got 6 episodes or you got them all out of order or the link stopped working, just delete and subscribe again. We do hope you'll tell your friends about the new Taming the Terminal podcast. Now, you'll notice that with all this work, I haven't even mentioned that I've made any progress in getting the new Chit Chat Across the Pond started. Okay, so far so good, guys. Just give a little listen, make sure things are okay. Order.
So I think it's time now that we change all of our network hardware just to make it more challenging.
For those of you listening on the app, Steve just said he thinks we should change all of our network hardware right now because things are just not complicated enough. Stopped working, just delete and subscribe again. We do hope you'll tell your friends about the new Taming the Terminal podcast. Now you'll notice that, okay, so I'm good. And good. Okay. There we go. Save. Thank you, Kevin. All right, where am I? Before I kick into Chit Chat, I just remembered, so there's no Chit Chat, but you are going to get a security light this week inside the NosillaCast because it's Bart on Chit Chat Across the Pond. Am I going to have to explain this every week? Oh, it's going to be complicated. Well, anyway, I figured that one of the long poles in the tent on getting Chit Chat Across the Pond started would be getting a logo made for the show. I know there's great services out there that'll design artwork for you, but I also know that there's a lot of talented folks in the NosillaCast community. I put out the plea rather weakly on the show last week for the NosillaCastaways to send me their ideas for a logo for the new Chit Chat Across the Pond podcast. Nothing happened. No ideas came out. Then I got an awful, evil idea. I created my own logo, and I basically made a blue blob, and I wrote chit on one side and chat on the other side. And when I posted it, I just said, okay, if you guys don't make me a logo, this is what you're going to look at. So just imagine what a logo created by an engineer with no right brain whatsoever would have come up with. It's a little worse than that. Anyway, it was really ugly, and I posted this monstrosity to our Google Plus community at podfeed.com/Google Plus and on Twitter, on Facebook. The reaction was tremendous. In just a couple of days, it might even have been hours, I had contributions flowing in. They all said it was the threat that got them moving. Alistair Jenks was first out of the gate with an interesting idea. He created a background of a flickering pool of water, and then he put silhouettes of 2 people's heads at diagonals. It was really beautiful, and it got the idea across, and it said Chit Chat Across the Pond in the middle. Keith Murray did something similar where he took an image of water with raindrops falling on it and it had a beautiful font with Chit Chat really big and then across the pond or across the in smaller letters in between. I like the emphasis on chit and chat, and Bart liked the raindrops. He said they reminded him of home. Not having seen rain in a long time, I didn't know what he was talking about. Well, Joseph Nilo over on Facebook was just goofy, but it was too funny not to tell you about. He took a photo of Daniel Craig as James Bond and put chit in the upper left, chat in the lower right. Took me about 2 days to get the joke. Have you gotten it yet? Chit Chat Across the Bond. Get it? It's terrible. I thought it was funny. George from Tulsa created a completely different look. He took a photo of a very old globe that he has that shows the international shipping lanes between Europe and the United States. And he added text that said chit chat across the pond. And he put it in this super cool, ancient looking font. That was fun too. But then Terry Austin weighed in with his design. If you've ever gotten an email from me, you'll notice that I have a little Podfeet logo drawn, kind of scribbled in pencil next to my signature, and that's also done by Terry Austin. But in this case, he found a $15 Mac App Store app called Logoist, and he started to doodle around with some ideas. He sent one to me on Telegram, and I instantly fell in love with the concept. It's much more stylistic than any of the rest of us had come up with, and in fact, it doesn't even have water in it. I never would have chosen the colors, but they go together beautifully, and they do use the color blue. The background is navy blue, and then a lighter, perhaps periwinkle blue is in there, and another color in there is orange, of all things. Again, I never would have chosen this, but everyone agrees that it's fabulous. It's got kind of these two twisty, sort of ribbony looking things together, and we managed to get the Podfeet logo in there too, just for a little continuity, and I just think it is gorgeous. I'm in love with this logo. I really want to thank everyone who jumped in and gave a hand here, sharing their ideas and talents. By the way, I did punish Terry for his great work by telling him that he has to do a review of Logoist for us now. No good deed goes unpunished. Right brain is hard for you too. Yeah, I'm not artistic, that's for sure. Oh, thanks, Steve. Hey, I forgot to do roll call. Let's see. We've got Donald, who I haven't heard from in a long time. I wonder if he's actually here. And Steve and Brett and Kevin and Dan and new guy John and Kiwi Spoon, Mr. New. We're not sure who that is. And John and NosillaCastaway 824. Has anybody tried telling 824 how to change their nick? And we've got Rose and Sandy. And for some reason, Steve's in twice. He likes to do that. I think he's on the app too. Do we know who NosillaCastaway 824 is, Steve?
No, but I will pose the question.
Thank you. All right. Okay. Here we go. Save. Again, for no reason. All right. Here we go. Well, now that the logo was done, I had no excuse for not getting the show going. I mentioned earlier that I also thought this week would be much more challenging if I also changed my recording software. By the way, when you use recording software like this, it's often called a DAW, a digital audio workstation. Apple has been on a tear lately, either abandoning software altogether, like Aperture, or coming out with a new version that loses much of what we know and love. One of them that you may not have tracked is GarageBand. A while back, I want to say it's more than a year, Apple rewrote GarageBand and came out with version 10, and it's pretty much worthless for podcasters. I've hung on to the old 6.0.5 version all this time, but I kind of live in fear that one day they're going to come out with an OS update that renders it unusable. I figured I should be the one in charge of when I make the switch, not them. After 10 years of podcasting with GarageBand as my digital audio workstation, this week I switched over to Amadeus Pro from hairersoft.com. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's hair, H-A-I-R-E-R, soft.com. I did this with the help of a couple of people. Listener Demase Thomas and I talked over a Skype session so I could help him learn Audio Hijack. And then we got to talking about how he used Amadeus Pro and how he really liked it. So I started draining his brain about it. Kevin Jones also told me that he uses Amadeus Pro. So does Dan Eckmeyer. And somewhere along the line, one of those guys told me that Bart uses it. Now, I think Bart had told me that, and I remember talking about Amadeus Pro a long time ago, but I had completely forgotten about it. So it was kind of funny that I heard about it from other people. By the way, I should point out that 3/4 of the Amadeus Pro users I now know are blind. By the way, Kevin bought Amadeus Pro just so he could extract all of the Taming the Terminal episodes on his own, not knowing we were just about to do it ourselves. Now I feel really guilty about not telling anybody about what we were doing. I'm probably going to talk more about Amadeus Pro and what I think about it later, but I also want to give a shout out to Garth Humphreys, who started answering my questions in the Amadeus forum and then wrote me a great detailed explanation later in email that helped me get a workflow going that I think will work for me. If you're listening to this right now, then you should probably thank Garth because that's why it exists. All right, those aren't quite lining up. Let me see, check those. Review of Logoist for us now. No good deed goes unpunished. Well, now that yeah, that's too big of I got a gap in it. That sounds of logoist for us now. No good deed goes unpunished.
So Mark wants me
Well,
to make sure you know that he's in the chat.
Oh, 824 is Mark?
Is Mark, yes.
Oh, great. I've forgotten how to
it's not working from the app, at least for Mark and me.
Okay.
Yeah. So I need to talk to Donald about that.
Okay. I'm checking some audio here. Hang on. Any progress in getting the new Chit Chat Across the Pond started? Before I kick into Chit Chat, I just remembered I'm not sure how to get rid of those gaps. It's a little bit more gap than I would like. Maybe I can. Let me do that. Let's see. There's a lot of keystrokes. Not sure how to do that. Slide that right there. Can I get rid of that much? Nope. I don't know how to get rid of that last little bit. All right. Well, if there's going to be a little gap there, I should make sure I can stop on good things. No good deed goes unpunished. Well, now that the logo is done, okay, well, that's not too bad.
Dan is offering help.
Who is Dan? What I'm trying to figure out, Dan, is the tracks have like a half a second or so on each end, 0.3 seconds, something like that you can't mess with. And I need to be able to clip the end of it off. I'm starting as quickly as I can, but it's not letting me cut that. Maybe I need to leave a bigger gap. I can work on that later. This won't be if this episode just, you can hear it, I think that I'm going to consider that a victory. But if there's a way to like nudge the selection just a couple of pixels. Tell Rose to just go to podfeet.com and it's splattered all over a bunch of posts right now. She's asking where the, okay, I think that's good. Let's see, review. Yeah. Oh, I can do that. Oh, I like that. Okay. So then no. Oh, is the phone still plugged in? No, I think it's unplugged. Okay.
Unplugged.
So then I spent the rest of the week doing all of the nitty-gritty details. I decided to go back 2 episodes and Chit Chat Across the Pond so that the first one in the series would be Bart's first episode of Programming by Stealth. That way, if we ever spin that one out, it will be easy peasy to grab them all. I created a template file in Amadeus Pro with my intro and outro music, which is the same on both ends now as what you used to hear on Chit Chat Across the Pond at the beginning. Then I dropped in the 2 episodes and I loaded them up to Libsyn. This won't hurt me financially because in theory, I'm going to be creating the same amount of content each week as before. It's not really twice as many. Well, it's twice as many shows, but it's the same content split in half. But we're going to see about that because Security Light this week went on for, I think, about 40 minutes. So you're going to get a giant show this week, plus a Chit Chat Across the Pond. Well, this is a good time to point out that we had to pick new music for Security Light. So Steve did the heavy lifting here. He bought a whole bunch of royalty-free music a while back, so he picked some options and we decided on one from Digital Juice called A Cold World. I hope you like it. When I submitted the feed to iTunes for Taming the Terminal, I expected it would take a couple of days to get in the directory, but it showed up in 9 hours. That was great. But unfortunately, I've been cooling my heels for 2 days now, waiting for Chit Chat Across the Pond to show up in the feed. I did get the notice that they got it, and I got the notice that they'd approved it, but I haven't gotten the notice that says, yeah, you can actually find it. I was really hoping to have it available for searching by now, but my luck didn't hold up on that. It's possible you can find it by the time you're hearing this, but if you want to get a jump on things and it's not up there yet, you can manually add the feed to your podcatcher of choice. The URL is in the show notes, but it's podfeet.com/ccatp/ccatp-rss.xml. If you find that in the show notes, again, do not click it. Make sure you copy and paste it in your podcatcher. I almost forgot. Another super fun part of this was deciding how to number the episodes. I didn't want to start at 1 because I knew we'd been doing this a long time. So I went into WordPress and did a search for all posts with Chit Chat Across the Pond in them somewhere. Then I looked at the list and I found the ones that I could tell there was something funny about them. And because there were some that said things like, there's no Chit Chat Across the Pond today. Well, I don't want to count that one, right? There were a couple where, like one of my early All Things D episodes, I knew that didn't have one. So anyway, I was able to go in and subtract out all the ones that didn't have them. And that let me know that the first episode of Chit Chat Across the Pond spinoff is number 407. Another fun fact to know and tell is that this is the very first. I messed that up. Okay, now we're going to learn how to edit. Don't know how to edit. Let's see. Oh. Anyway, I was able to go in and subtract out all the ones that didn't have them, and that let me know that the first episode of Chit Chat Across the Pond. Okay, we're gonna move there, and then we're going to move the playhead. There's a way to move the playhead to insertion point. Okay, that's playhead to insertion point is Command-Shift-Y. Oh, that's where I want to cut from. Put in markers. I don't know what they're for yet. It worked. Okay. What did I just finish saying? Like one of my early All Things D episodes, I knew that didn't have one. Oh, thanks, Dan. I'm going to put a gap here on purpose. Not sure what I finished saying here. Come on. That I could tell there was something funny about them, and I don't think any of this. I was stumbling a lot. Make sure you copy and paste it in your podcatcher. Let me take us from there. Cut that. Our insertion point should be in place. I almost forgot that another super fun part of this was trying to figure out how to number the episodes. I knew I didn't want to start with 1 because we've been doing these for a really long time and we ought to get credit for all of those. So I went into WordPress and I did a search for all posts with Chit Chat Across the Pond in them. And then I looked at the list and I eliminated ones that had things in them like no Chit Chat Across the Pond today. I figured out that I can start at number 407. Now, that's, of course, by going back to. So another fun fact to know and tell is that the very first Chit Chat Across the Pond was, of course, with Bart, and it was on November 25th, 2007. So that means we've had 8 years of chitting and chatting. I think now I'm facing a website redesign. What started as one podcast with one blog post per episode has turned into mini blog posts, 3 shows, hundreds of details, and 100... shoot. Get a chance to listen to this. Make sure you copy and paste it in your podcatcher. I almost forgot that. Okay. And chatting. I think now I'm. Okay. Whoops. You change that. I don't want it like that. Okay. I think now. On November 25th, 2007. So that means we've had 8 years of chitting and chatting. You need to subscribe to the new Chit Chat when it comes out. Right. Oh, John, yeah, it will not be a compilation of all the old ones. I'm just going to go back 2 episodes. Didn't I talk about that? Yeah, I think I did. I'm losing my mind in case anybody's wondering. So I'm just gonna pick up 2 older ones. So it's gonna start with the first of the Programming by Stealth series. So if people want to pull those down themselves, or if we want to later on make a show just out of those, we can. All right, getting a little hot in here. All right. I think now I'm really facing into a website redesign. What started as one podcast with one blog post per episode has turned into many different blog posts, 3 separate shows, and hundreds of tutorials. If you have ideas about how this could look and function, I'd love to hear your suggestions. Like if you go to the site and you're frustrated because you can't find things or it just doesn't look the way you want it, I'm probably going to start from scratch. I'm looking specifically for help in the visual layout and function of the site, not the programming behind it. Just what would it act like if you had it just work the way you wanted it to work? I've asked my buddy Niraj to take a crack at it because he's really talented in the UI department. He also knows WordPress really well, so if I do end up needing the technical help, he can do that too. I'm not sure he's going to have enough time, but he has already jumped on to looking at it a little bit. But if you have a talent in that area, do some diagrams for me. Remember, if you don't do it, you'll get whatever awful design I think of. Don't think I won't do it. You know I will. Well, I got to tell you, I'm pretty exhausted. I can tell you that. If you don't believe me, take a look at the show notes. I posted a copy of my mind map from iThought so you could see what I've done and what I've left to do. Oh, I just realized I still have to get the NosillaCast news working to notify folks of the new shows because they aren't going to see anything about that in the NosillaCast news. That might just start next week. We'll see. To need our own Podfeet brick house. Yeah, I'm feeling it. That means we've had 8 years of chitting and chatting. I think now I'm really okay. Oh, I can do that. That's good. Yeah. I'm a conglomerate all with my own. Let's see. I wanted to take a minute to remind you guys about my Amazon affiliate link. We're heading into the holiday season, as you all know. And if you could just consider going to podfeet.com first and clicking on the Amazon button in the upper left. It doesn't have a tracker. It's not got any JavaScript. It's just an image with a link. All you have to do is click that instead of going to Amazon directly. Just click on that. And then whatever you search for and buy during that session, a very small percentage of that will go to help fund the show. With all the expansions we're doing and new software and stuff, I could use a little bit of help getting some of this stuff funded. So go check it out and tell your friends to use my Amazon affiliate link if you think about it too. There were a few things I was super excited about in El Capitan that have turned into big disappointments for me. Split screen was one of those features that sounded really useful. For a few years, I was forced to use Windows at work, and one of the very few things I liked was how I was able to drag a window to the side of the screen, and it would snap to the edge and fill half the screen. If I wanted to, I could put another application window on the other side, and it would also snap to half screen. If I wanted to, I could have one window filling half screen, but the rest of the screen without something in the other half. On my Mac, I use the $10 application Moom from minitricks.com, which does a ton of cool stuff, one of which is to do split screen. Using Moom, if you drag a window near the top, bottom, left, right of your screen, you'll see this light blue dotted line around the half of the screen you're near. If you let go, your window will snap right into place in that section. Even nicer than the way Windows implements it, actually. Some windows don't allow you to modify their size, like, say, System Preferences, for example. So if you drag it to an edge, instead of a blue line showing you half screen, it makes it gray and it includes a big red no symbol. You can put one app in split screen mode without irritating your other apps. Moom also lets you do quarter size, has keystroke commands to invoke these split screens. A lot of fun for only $10. So when El Capitan came along, I tried split screen out on my new 12-inch Retina MacBook, and I would call it a complete failure. First of all, you would never discover how to do this if you didn't already know it was there. You have to press and hold on the green button in the upper left that normally takes you to full screen. You get a blue rectangle on the left, and you can slide to the right to make it go to the right half of the screen if you prefer. There's no top-bottom option, only left-right, no quarter screen, and you have to choose a second app for the other side. You can't leave the half screen up by itself. Oh, and it makes both of the applications part of their own space, so if you command tab away, they disappear. That really freaked me out because I didn't know it was in a space. I didn't notice it. So it's sort of full screen, but sort of not. It's like 2 half screens in full screen. I also find that when you do get it working, the resulting windows vary dramatically in how they look. In some cases, the text has been shrunk down to make it fit the full width, like Facebook. So it makes it completely unreadable. It's too small. In some cases, like in Google+, the text of several panes got kind of smashed onto other panes, making it unreadable. I did an experiment on my 12-inch MacBook where I put a web page in half screen using Moom, and I also did that using El Capitan's full screen built-in effect. Moom cuts the text off so you have to scroll side to side, but El Capitan shrinks the text so that the full width of the web page fits on screen, which means I can't read it anymore. I definitely prefer the consistency of Moom. Now, I was complaining about split screen online, and Alistair Jenks and I started comparing notes. One of the apps I had tried to go split screen with simply said, not available in full screen, when I tried to see it side by side with Safari. He said that it worked fine for him. In fact, I think it might have been 1Password. We shared screenshots and eventually figured out what was happening. We think that software vendors have a minimum width they'll allow in their app. Because I was working on a 12-inch MacBook and he was working on a 27-inch iMac, we were getting different results. When I put Safari on the left, there wasn't the minimum width left for 1Password. We also noticed that if I put 1Password in half screen first, then Safari showed the not available in full screen message. I'm not sure now. I mean, it's just getting more and more confusing. Why would it say not available in full screen? I wasn't trying to do full screen. And that app can do full screen. It just did do full screen, and it just did half screen. Another problem is that without El Capitan's implementation, the software developer has to have implemented it. For example, Feeder has not, which is the main app I need side by side with other things. With a tool like Moom, it can do split screen on any app, regardless of whether the dev has implemented it. Feeder doesn't necessarily obey the definition of half, but Moom can definitely control it, while El Capitan just pouts in the corner and won't play at all. Tools like split screen are only good if you can rely on them to work every time you need them. If you have to pay attention to which Mac you're using, so the screen size, you have to remember whether the application you want to use in split screen supports it, and pay attention to in which order you want to set them up. This is just too hard. It's a non-starter. Consistency is critical here. One last complaint. I had split screen get stuck on me once, leaving half my screen blue, refusing to accept any apps into the blue side. Wouldn't use app switching, and a relaunch of Finder wouldn't fix it. I couldn't get to the menu bar either to restart. It's a good thing I've tamed that terminal because I had to use it to reboot. So yeah, I'm a real big fan of Apple's split screen implementation. Well, no disasters yet, Steve. 22 minutes and nothing's gone wrong.
Good. How's the editing flow for you?
It's not bad. If I have to insert something, that'll be scary, but Damase taught me how to do it. It turns out you can record in another track and just paste it in, and the stuff squishes aside, makes room for it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Iceberg dead ahead. Has anybody noticed the audio level being different than before? Anybody said anything, Steve?
Not that I've heard.
Because I'm running at double the volume I normally am.
Why don't you just double the speed too?
I am talking kind of quick because I'm freaked out here. But okay, here we go. Another failed implementation in El Capitan, in my opinion, is pinned tabs. According to Apple's knowledge base article PH21462, you can pin Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, Gmail, or any other website you visit frequently throughout the day. Pinned sites stay put on the left side of your tab bar so you can easily get to them at any time. Well, that sounded swell to me. I go to the new NosillaCast Google Plus community many times throughout the day, so I thought it'd be a great thing to pin. I read the instructions in the knowledge base article that said to drag the tab, I should say, to the far left until it shrunk down to a small icon, and that worked. Okay, great. I clicked the tiny G icon in the little itty bitty tab, and I went right to our Google Plus community. Cool. While there, I read a few posts, and I decided to look at a Google Plus community for podcasters. I went back to some other tabs, did some goofing around, then later in the day, I hit the NosillaCast Google Plus pin tab again, and it wasn't on our community. It was the podcasting community where I left it. That's when I realized that pin tabs were something completely different than what I thought they were. They're a tab to a domain, and that's all. If you make one for iMore, you can go anywhere you want within the domain and you stay on the pin tab. But if you click a link to a different domain, it opens up in a new tab. Sounds good, but this means that you basically have no clue where this pin tab is going to take you other than the domain. On iMore, I jumped around, followed an internal link to Peter Cohen's page, and when I came back to the iMore pinned tab, there was Peter's face. The only way I could get it to revert back to what I'd set it was to quit Safari and then reopen. I guess this makes some sort of sense, but I can't see the use of it. There's exceptions to this rule even. I went back to my Google Plus pin tab, which is set to plus.google.com, and I used the Google navigation grid to go to Gmail, which is at mail.google.com. Instead of staying in the pin tab, it opened a new tab. So evidently, in at least some cases, different subdomains don't stay in the same tab. Guess that makes sense. My confusion on the utility of this odd little thing continues because if you right-click on the pin tabs, you get two choices, unpin tab and close tab. But I couldn't figure out the difference. Closing each one caused them all to disappear, and restarting Safari didn't bring them back. Another time I had a window where I had no tabs open. You can't pin a tab if you have no tabs open. You have to make a tab, and then the pin tabs come back. Bottom line, I have no idea why you'd want to use pin tabs in the way Apple has implemented them. Husband says, wee wee pee pee to tease me. What are you going Oh, yeah. Steve sounds like Phoebe Buffay in that episodes of Friends where she's had a cold and she's singing real deep and sultry. All right. I'm going to do the clarify ad.
Should I do my rendition of Smelly Cat?
Yes, you should do Smelly. Oh, now I have to go again. Good, Kevin. I'm a real big fan of Apple's split screen implementation. Another failed implementation. Okay, those gaps are sounding okay, right, Steve? Is that all right?
Yeah, I think they are.
All right. One of my favorite things about doing ads for Clarify is that I get these spontaneous testimonials from people. Today I was on the elliptical with Dorothy over at the gym, and she said, hey, I had a great use of Clarify this week. I said, oh, well, tell me about it. So I get to tell you. She has a Windows virtual machine on her Mac, and she likes to keep it isolated from her network. She only uses it to do Quicken. Well, every once in a while, her printer driver gets screwed up, and it starts printing quarter size, so it's this wee tiny little thing in the corner that she can't read. The only way she knows how to fix it is to delete the printer and add it back. One of the problems with Windows 7 is that it's, at least for her in her implementation, she says when she says to add printer, you can't add the printer by then clicking on the printer button. You have to click on add device. Not sure why that is, but it's just kind of janky that way. So she does that and it doesn't work. Next, she goes and gets her husband, Mark, and says, what did I do wrong? This worked before. That's when he reminds her every time this happens that she forgets that she has the Windows firewall turned on. So she has to turn it off, do it again, and now it works until it fails again. Well, where does Clarify come in on this? She decided this week she was tired of having to go get Mark every time she forgot how to do it. So instead, she created a tutorial for herself using Clarify. She went through and just went snapshot, 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 big arrow pointing to something saying, you dummy, don't forget this thing. And she was done. Now, the only hard part she says she's got is to remember to look at her Clarify tutorial. If you don't have a copy of Clarify yet, I think there's four NosillaCastaways left who haven't got it. So if you don't, go over to clarify-it.com, download the free trial, and you can get it for the Mac, for Windows, for both. Get them all, try it, and then, of course, when you buy it, be sure to tell them that Allison sent you. All right, Steve, here's the hard part. All right, it's time to stand up. Let's see. So now I have to start. This is where it's going to get tricky. Where do I put a jingle? I need to add a track, don't I, Steve?
Jingle for what?
I got to add the track for the jingle for Security Light.
Ah. Where do you add? Oh, you mean we'll just create a new track.
Yeah. But do I put that track above or below the intro? Probably doesn't matter. All right, now I've got to...
Wait. I thought you said Amadeus does do ducking.
Yeah, but right where I'm going to be, there isn't going to be the intro and outro to worry about.
Oh, so it probably doesn't matter.
Sense? Yeah, actually, I'm going to switch back to showing you guys this so you guys can see and watch if I screw this up. Okay, so I just added this down here. which is the new security light music. And I'm going to have to go find, oh God, where did I put security light? I think I put it in NosillaCast audio, because security light is, it's getting so confusing. Oh dear. I think I'm gonna need another track because this is kind of cool. It's just got a little track button there. So now I got one down here. Whoops. Oh, what did I do? I shrank it. I scrolled the wrong way. Where am I? I lost my mind. Okay, I'm gonna have to move these. So what's kind of cool is, let's see, I'm gonna put Bart here. I can name these and I can flip them up so they're smaller, and then I can move them up and down. So just so I can see what I'm doing, I am gonna move security light and the security light jingle up. And I'm gonna put Bart above that just in case it does duck. So now there's the security light jingle. I have no idea if I've got it lined up properly. Let's see, where does that stop and start? Okay. I think I want a little tiny gap in noise sound, don't I, Steve? Gonna have to, you might want to stay on unmuted because this is gonna be all new. Look at Bart. And do we want Bart right? I think we want him after it actually stops, right? After the jingle stops, is this one gonna blend? I forget.
Let's hear it.
Okay. So like I said, security light was, I went for 27 minutes, and then security light is another 40. So this is good. Now my audio is going to be low on this one, Steve.
Okay.
So we may need to boost this. All right. I have no idea how it's lined up. Let's hear how it sounds. Try it. And then of course, when you buy it, be sure to tell them that Allison sent you.
So that's a bit long, and there is a gap from you stopping and the music starting.
Yeah, and I also didn't play this track up here. Why didn't it start playing? Okay. So you don't want any gap?
Well, less than you have. There can be a small gap, but
it's like a split second, I think. Let's just hear just that piece, then we'll work on the other end to tell them that Allison sent you.
Yeah, that's good.
Actually, that sounded good. Okay. So now I can start bringing me in earlier, but I don't think you're going to hear me quite right. You think the whole song's too long? Or I could start ducking it down earlier.
Yeah. I'm seeing that it picks up halfway through. Can you play that again? Just what that sounds like?
The whole thing?
Yeah, so I can see what. Oh, it's the drums. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think.
Well, it's that time of the show again.
Yeah,
it's time.
I would go ahead and play the whole thing, because it would be weird to duck that below what you're saying at the end.
I think so. Listen to it duck where I come in. Well, it's that time of the show again. It's time for Security Light with Bart Bouchot. It's our first standalone episode. Boy, my voice does not sound as good on that.
Yeah, the timing's good
for the doubling. Yeah, and now I've got Bart down really low, so I think I'm okay. So do you like the timing? But I'm going to boost everything up a lot.
Oh, Sandy likes the music. Great.
Good. So does Dan. The most I can go. You know, they actually have an amplify track thing. Let me try that. Let's do something new.
Oh, great.
Amplify? Amplify by 20 dB. Hope it only does it to that track. I didn't see any change.
That's a lot if it's 20.
Yeah, you would think you'd notice. Oh, I know. Well, it's that time of the okay, so I think you have to select it and then say amplify. Where'd it go? All right, and now I think you go selection, amplify. Where'd it go? Oh, amplify by 20 dB is now set. Yeah, that made a difference.
Yeah, that's going to blow us out.
Yeah, maybe not. Okay, so that was under effects. Amplify. How many dB you want, Steve?
Try 6.
6 look pretty small.
Oh, is that what you were at?
No, but I don't think that. Well, let's take a look. I was trying to do 6, but let's see how this goes. Well, it's that time of the show again. It's time for Security Light with Bart Bouchat's our first standalone episode, Bart. Wait, not standalone. Still connected.
We're going to confuse ourselves so much today because we're recording this and then we're going to stop recording and then we're going to be recording a standalone chit chat across the pond. So it's all very confusing.
So Al?
Yeah.
Does that sound okay to you?
Sounds kind of crunchy.
It sounds compressed to me, but I often get that through Hangouts. So
yeah, no, it sounds crunchy, but that is the original recording.
Crunchy. Do you like the compression artifacts?
I don't know. My voice just doesn't sound very good. I don't know how to describe it. I can't do anything about it because that is the original audio. That's what I have.
Is that an MP3?
No, it's an AIFF.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You want to come here? It definitely doesn't sound as good as the rest of this. How many retired engineers does it take to revamp one podcast, create 2 new ones, and do it all with new recording software? Okay. Well, it's that time of the show again. It's time for Security Light with Bart Bouchat's our first standalone episode, Bart. Wait, not standalone. Still connected.
Well, it's kind of harsh.
But it's an AIFF.
Yeah. We should later look at what you used to record that with. What settings?
Yeah, well, now we've done the doubling of my audio, so I think that might be the new stuff will sound better, but we can check that again. None. It only takes one wingman. Are you on the same mic for that recording as you are now? Yes. That's recorded with Audio Hijack. What we're doing right now, one thing we're doing differently. Oh, I guess I should stop broadcasting that so you can see me. By the way, I was dancing during the music and nobody noticed. One thing I always have to do is I have to turn Bart down because he's too loud compared to me on the recording. And so instead of doing that from now on, I'm going to double my volume using Audio Hijack as I do the recording. And that's what I'm doing right now. And it sounds a lot better. So this hopefully, he's way soft because I turned him down and it looked perfect in the test recording, and now I'm way louder than he is. So I also had a problem. I had 2 ways to record chit chat, and one way created a stereo file, one with me and one with the other person. So one with Bart and one with me, a separate track, and I could have separated them and boosted Bart right now, but the one that I used, I had 2 of them. The one that I used didn't work to do that. So unfortunately, we're blended into one track, and I can't do anything about it. I don't think. Let me just check really quick. I'm going to open this with Audacity. 2 cups of what? Yeah, read the file directly.
The Audacity.
Oh, no, it is a stereo. It is stereo. I could boost Bart separately, you guys. Maybe I should do that. What do you think, Steve? Let's learn how to do something else.
Do it.
Okay, so this is already in there as a stereo. Can I convert that track to so my default is to add mono tracks. So I'm going to do, let's call this Old Bart mono. And I'm going to do a track, create, where'd it go? Add new stereo track. And where did it go? There we go. Chit chat stereo. And then I should be able to split them. I don't think. Just for grins and giggles. Ah! What just happened? Just lost everything. Did I lose everything? Oh, no. What happened? Oh. Okay. No, don't panic. Don't panic, anybody. It just, for some reason, it just moved me dramatically from where I was. Okay, let me cut that and let me... Why does it keep doing that? Hang on. Is it really disappearing everything? Selection. Hang on. I can't tell what I've done. Sorry. I can't tell. Looks like, oh, that's just moving. So I think I'm okay. Let me see what this is. That should be right where I should be, right here. 4 left, 4 NosillaCastaways left who haven't got it. So if you don't, okay, so that's good. Good. No, I haven't messed anything up yet. So now let's try pasting it here. No, that's still mono. God, I hate the way it does that. It jumps me to the end of the entire recording when I hit delete. So it keeps making me think that I've really wrecked things. Okay, so that's a stereo track. So let me pull this in again. This is gonna take a minute here. Bring that in right there. Oh, is Linda here? Hi, Linda. How are you? When did you sneak in?
I don't know, but she says your eyes look the same upside down as right side up. Is she looking at you upside down? Or is that from a history thing?
That's from history. When Linda and I were young whippersnappers, we used to lay around in her bedroom and hang upside down on the bed and look at each other upside down and just laugh and laugh and laugh. I remember just probably the most I've ever laughed in my lifetime was one time doing that with her. Okay, so I dropped.
It's really funny. Our mouths upside down.
Yeah, well, that is the good part. Okay, why is this coming in mono? I said to make that a stereo file. Okay. I am going to delete again. And why does it keep doing that? It goes all the way to the end of the file each time I hit delete. That's what gave me a heart attack. It looked like it deleted all my tracks. So what's going on here? Hey! Delete track. Okay. Track. Maybe Dan can help me. I'm saying add new stereo track. And then I want to insert right here. And I know that's
a third John joining us.
Really?
Well, Johnny.
It's got the Night of John. Why is this not? So, Dan, I am creating a stereo track first, and I'm dropping in a file I know is stereo because I just looked at it over in Audio Hijack. But when I drop it in, it looks like it's mono. No, that time it came in as stereo. Okay, so I was doing it right. Okay, so now this is what's really cool. Actually, I got to show you guys this. This is what I always wanted in GarageBand and never had. This is something to love here. So now I've dropped in this stereo track down here, and so this is me and this is Bart, and I've lowered Bart unfortunately. So there's a little split thing, and I'm going to hit that, and now it's splitting the track into 2, and now I've got this is me.
That's cool.
This is CCATP Allison, and I used to have to do it in Audio Hijack, and in Audacity. It was really, really hard. CATP Bart. So now I can say take Bart's track. I think I do this, and I do a command right arrow, and I'm going to bump him up. We'll do effects. We'll amplify him by maybe 10 dB and me by 6. Try that. No, I don't know why it keeps going back to the there. And then I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do a command right arrow, and we're going to do track effects, amplify, and we'll do me by 6. See how that looks. All right, I still look louder than him, but whoop. Let's hear how that sounds. Okay. Well, it's that time of the show again. It's time for Security Light with Bart Bouchot. It's our first standalone episode, Bart.
That's too much.
Wait, not standalone. Okay. All right. Let me do one at a time until we like them.
Just amplify Bart and leave you where you are.
You think?
Yeah, try that in the beginning as a starting point.
Okay. Start here. And command right arrow. Whoops. Didn't work. I want to get the whole thing.
Try Bart by 6 dB and leave
I'm going to. I'm trying to figure out how I did it the first time. Can't remember how I select things yet. That's not what I want to do. All right. Now I'm going to go command left arrow, command right arrow, and do him by 6.
Yeah.
All right. It's so harsh. Okay, 6. Okay. So now both of us. Let's listen to. Let's see. I think there's gonna be too much gap too. Well, it's that time of the show again. It's time for Security Light with Bart Bouchot. It's our first standalone episode, Bart. Wait, not standalone. Still connected.
We're going to confuse ourselves so much today because we're recording this and then we're going to...
That sounds pretty good.
You're still a little loud. I don't know.
Bring me down?
I'd take you down by a couple dB and Bart down by a dB or two.
Really? Bring it down?
See, I'm hearing something louder over here than I am in your headphones, so maybe it's hard to tell what the recording. I guess you're hearing the recording, and Hangouts is boosting it.
Yeah. Do you want to?
Let me hear it over there.
Okay. No, I'm not trying to mix it to mono. I separated it into stereo, Kevin, so that I could put them side by, so that I could separately affect them. Okay, so this is no editing. They're both as designed. Well, it's that time of the show again. It's time for Security Light with Bart Bouchot. It's our first standalone episode, Bart. Wait, not standalone. Still connected.
We're going to confuse ourselves so much today because we're recording.
So you haven't brought Bart up.
Right. So
bring him up 6. It's gotta be a
I did 6. Man. I did 6. I did. I just selected that track.
With 2 actions.
Actually, Command-Shift-A might have done that. Okay, so I'm going to go to Amplify. And you wanted 6? You just told me to bring it back down right after I said to do 6.
Your voice is the harsh one.
I know, but I had him up to 6 and you said no.
Try
5. Okay.
And try you -1. -2.
How about if we do just one change at a time, because it's easier to change one thing and undo if you don't like it. Okay, so I'm gonna put it like right here. Security Light with Bart Bouchot. It's our first standalone episode, Bart. Wait, not standalone. Still connected.
We're going to confuse ourselves so much today because we're recording.
Yeah, that's cool.
You'd still bring me down some?
No. That's fine.
Okay. All right, I'm going to slide them both over a little bit too. Yeah. But unfortunately, you can't slide 2 tracks at once, near as I can figure. Dan, have you figured out a way to move 2 tracks at once? I have to move. It's terrifying. I want to move me to like right. Let's see. That we want. Listen to how long it's wrong by. Expand this out. Okay, I think that's where we want.
So I see part of the difference is you're hearing mono in one ear, but when we hear mono, it's in both ears. So we're getting twice the we're getting twice the volume, I think, from what you would hear.
It doesn't make any sense.
Well, sound in both ears does sound louder.
Bye, Kiwi Spoon. All right, let's listen to the timing. Well, it's that time. Whoop, too fast. Should have a better way to do this than visually. Well, it's that time of the show again. It's time for Security Light with Bart Bouchot. It's our first standalone episode, Bart. Wait, not standalone. Still connected.
We're going to confuse ourselves so much today because we're recording this and then we're going to stop recording and then we're going to be recording a standalone chit chat across the pond. So it's all very confusing.
I got to tell you, my head is spinning with this week. But it's starting to sound better. By this time, the people would already have heard how much my head is spinning. But so this is going to be Security Light, which is going to stay with the NosillaCast. Okay. I'm sticking with that.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, it's 6:10. I am late. Okay.
And this is without chit chat across the pond.
This is an over an hour show. That's great. Okay, so now I've got to go up and that Security Light jingle. Wait. I actually think I need to move these tracks up though. And I don't want that track at all. It's dangerous. Are you guys still seeing the tracks? Yeah, you guys are watching what I'm doing. Okay, so I think I want to do that. No! Okay, why did it copy track? I don't want to copy it. There. Apparently you can copy tracks by dragging them on top of each other. That's what I want. Okay. Whew. Nope, I got to see that. I need to see that. I need to see that. And then I get to talk again. Wow. All right. I get. Talk to you in a couple weeks, Bart.
Or 5 minutes. Bye-bye.
Okay. And now I want to be on this track. And I want my insertion point to be right there. But that's not the insertion point. That is... Oh, man. How do I... I think I want to go like this. There we go. It's hard to see where that insertion point is. If there's no audio there, it disappears. That's really annoying. Okay. Here we go. Well, I think this is a miracle, but this appears to have worked. We'll see. I hope you guys have heard this show. But we made it through. It only took me an hour and 15 minutes, what should have maybe taken me 45 minutes to do tonight. But the audience stayed with us, and we had a lot of fun. But that's going to wind us up for this week. Many thanks to our sponsor for helping to pay the bills. Remember, the last 4 of you, get over there to clarify-it.com and try the free trial. Don't forget to send in your dumb questions, comments, suggestions. Tell us what you think of the new formats and all the new episodes and how you think I should redesign the website. You can do that by emailing me at allison@podfeed.com or send me a note on Twitter @podfeed. You should definitely go over to the NosillaCast Google Plus community too, because we get a lot of good comments over there and people talking to each other. You can throw in ideas that can tell you whether you're wrong or right. And if nothing else, you got George from Tulsa to entertain you over there too. If you want to join in the fun of the live show, like, let's see, we had 3 Johns this week, one of whom I believe was new. You should do that by going over to podfeed.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCastaways. Thanks for listening. And stay subscribed.
I could not see. Oh, that's where I couldn't see your recording while it was going. Not
it doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't show up until you're.
No, it doesn't. It's in a little. Maybe you can't see the pop-up window. Let me see. Can you see this?
No.
No, there's a pop-up window, but
of recording at all.
I get a. Let me see if maybe I can change it. Let me see if I can show you what I see. Nope, it's a pop-up. Well, here, maybe I can do it if I show you the whole window. There, do you see that little window there?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So when to record, I hit this red record button, and that comes up, and then I have to hit it again. You can have that auto start, but I kind of want to see that, make sure I can see my voice moving. Because if that's not moving, then I know I've forgotten to turn on Soundflower. Hey, Dan, do you know what playthrough is? There's a playthrough checkbox there, and I don't know what that is yet. Let me see.
You have a chat window up.
5 minutes. Bye-bye.
Well, I think this is... What do you mean?
Your whole screen is showing.
I know. I did that so that you could see it. All
right.
Don't ask me to show you something, then complain when I show it to you. Fine.
You just had a chat window. I didn't know you wanted open.
A chat window. Oh, that's Kevin teaching me about how accessible Amadeus Pro is. So.
Okay, that's cool.
Let me hear the ending of this. Yeah, got lucky. Thanks.
Okay, how's about until next time, tape patches and stay secure?
I like it. Talk to you in a couple weeks, Bart.
Or 5 minutes. Bye-bye.
Well, I think that appears to... Okay. Yeah, I really like my audio on this now. A lot better.
Or 5 minutes. Bye-bye.
Well, I think this is... Whoop, too soon. Gotta have a little bit more breath.
Or 5 minutes. Bye-bye.
Well, I think this is a miracle, but this appears to have worked. Okay, so now I've got to go to tracks. If you guys can't stay, I understand. You don't have to stay just because the professor's going late, but I need to show, I need to view the entire show whole sound. No, show envelope 4. The show whole sound is cool. It shows you the stuff at the top. That is good. I should keep that on. There's a way to view the entire thing. Zoom to document. There it is. Because I need to go find. We can fold these guys up. I know you're not watching now, but is that what you're about to tell me?
Yes.
Well, do you? I have it up. You complain. I don't have it up. You complain. It's all right. Here we go. Well, actually, I could go back to just showing this because this might be fun for a few minutes to see this. I think it's more interesting than looking at me anyway. But okay, so now I can do show whole sound at the top, but down here I can zoom in. So now we've got to do the ducking or watch the.
I'm going to take you off Alpha Geek because I think we've overrun our time.
Oh, good idea. Good idea. Okay, so here we go. That ends there, and I think that's where he wants to deduct. Okay, let's hear how the ending sounds, see if this sounds okay. We're going to turn on play on that. Twitter @Podfeet. You should definitely go over to the NosillaCast Google Plus community too, because we get a lot of good comments over there and people talking to each other. You can throw in ideas that can tell you whether you're wrong or right, and if that's kind of loud, George from Tulsa to entertain you over there too. If you want to join in the fun of the live show, like, let's see, we had 3 Johns this week, one of whom I believe was new. You should do that by going over to podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic Nosilla castaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. All right, split screen and Steve and Amadeus Pro, none of me. Nice, Kevin. That sounded kind of loud on the music to me. Maybe I should just slant it in some. What do you think, Steve?
This sound is really distorted here, so I can't really make a comment.
Touch it.
Yeah, I'd have to hear it from your end.
I'm just talking about the volume of the music. I'm going to have it
okay.
We have it fade in more. You should definitely go over to the NosillaCast Google Plus community too, because we get a lot of good comments over there and people talking to each other. You can throw in ideas that can tell you whether you're wrong or right. And if nothing else, you got George from Tulsa to entertain you over there too. If you want to time and join the friendly and enthusiastic Nosilla castaways. Thanks for listening. Sounds like I'm being played out like hurry up. All right, so the first NosillaCast without the without chit chat is 69 minutes long. Oh, that's funny. Okay. All right, that's what everybody said would happen. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, wrong window. Okay, I'm going to save. And then I'm going to save a copy as, and I think we are done. File, save a copy as, and I'm going to save that as an AIFF. And I'm going to put .AIFF on the end of it because it doesn't seem to like that. Let's save a copy as. Yes. All right, guys, you stayed with me. You can't see me. Let me stop this. All right, you stayed with me. I think it's a miracle that this worked. Wait, this document could not be exported. What? The sound is too large for the selected file format. Try splitting it into smaller pieces or select a different format? What? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Come on.
Ask Dan if he has any recommendations.
Is Dan still there? Dan, what the heck? Oh my God. What? That doesn't make any sense. Let's do it again. AIFF. What the heck? Oh no. Just over an hour is quite nice. Yeah, the sausage. If this didn't work, I don't know what to do about this. I can't cut this up. It said, let's see, I'll type it out for you, Dan. This is not good. This is not good at all. I mean, I suppose I could save it as something else, like a WAV file or something stupid. I don't want to save it as an MP3. I've got other processing I need to do to it first. Oh, this is not good. I try saving it as a WAV. All right. Well, you guys, I think I'm going to stop broadcasting live because this is not good. Too many tracks to be saved as a WAV file. Okay, I'm going to call the show. Hopefully you'll see it later, but I have got to pay complete attention here, and I'd rather not have you watch while I swear and stuff. So I'm going to stop the broadcast. Dan, if you would not mind hanging out for a little longer, I will just text chat with you. But looks like most people have gone anyway. So goodbye, guys. Wish me luck.